starts off. Colonel Vassal, who is named John Vassal, he's brothers with that Henry Vassal. And then John Vassal Jr., who was, frankly, the major Vassal, he was going to be setting up residence in there. There's definitely a joke in there. I don't know how to make it. But yeah, this guy was Vassal. Major Vassal. Sir. Anyway, John Vassal.
Surrounded by vassals.
Yeah, exactly. I'm surrounded by vassals. So, anyway, John Vassal, major Vassal, is going to build this house for himself in 1759. He inherits the family fortune. He's quite wealthy. He's got all kinds of plantations in Antigua and Jamaica and whatnot, along with some very beautiful daughters. They're loving their life in here. And then the powder alarm hits, and they are driven straight out of Cambridge. They are not welcome back here. We confiscate their house pretty quickly. Now, William Brattle's wife, believe it or not, is actually going to get the Brattle house back after the Revolution. A couple of the Tory Row mansions are going to get their houses back after that. Henry Vassal's widow, Penelope Royal, will actually petition to get this house back. We tell her no, she can have all the possessions except for the medical supplies, and then to bugger off. But the Vassals are not a well-liked family. So when he leaves, we quickly confiscate his house, and of course, we will turn it into the headquarters for the very famous General George Washington. That's because we put him in the Wadsworth House on Harvard campus initially for about 2 weeks. He's cramped. He's way too close to his soldiers, so he leans to an advisor and he says, "Listen, I'm a plantation owner from Virginia. Can you guys please find me a house?" And so they do. They put it in this place. It's gigantic. It's got all this lovely land around it. By November, he realizes that this is not a quick incursion. This is going to be a long war, and he invites Martha up. She makes it before the cold weather sets in, and she starts throwing all kinds of crazy parties. And if these walls could talk, man, they'd have some stories. People who dined in here with him were Ben Franklin, John Hancock, you got Benjamin Church, Dr. Joseph Warren's not going to make it in here. He's going to be dead before Washington actually gets here. But a lot of the famous revolutionaries will have dinner with the Washingtons in here. They spent about a year here, not quite. And then the war moves down to New York, and they move with it. The house changes hands a couple of times, but in 1791, it's purchased by a guy named Andrew Craigie, who's a huge land spectator. He's got speculator thinker. Boy, we'll just come out. Owns most of Fresh Pond down there. He actually will have in his possession at least 3 of the Tory Row mansions at some point in his career. He throws even more lavish parties, and his wife, Elizabeth Craigie, is way his junior, that's portrayed by George on the tour, way his junior, and a really weird lady, as a matter of fact. Weird, by weird I mean liberal. She's extremely liberal in those days, and that earns her a bad reputation of being a weirdo, especially when she goes around wearing a turban all the time. The tree that's being attacked by worms out here, she refuses to cut down. They say, why not? She said, they are, after all, our fellow worms. And it was like, all right, didn't know you were a worm, but I'm not. So whatever the case, we got Elizabeth Craigie living in here. In 1820s, Andrew Craigie has lost all of his money. All of his investments have fallen through.